Okay. Hello. Good evening, everyone. And welcome to the third episode of Diary Film, where we bring in people from the film industry and discuss about topics regarding film and the industry itself. Well, first of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Irfan, and I will be the moderator for tonight. And on behalf of our organizer for all of our audience who are joining us this evening, whether you're a returning audience or new ones, thank you so much for sparing your time to join our Diary Film and FCA webinar series. Without further ado, let us begin. Ever since the pandemic hit, the film industry has definitely taken a huge toll because of it. Productions were halted, jobs were almost nowhere to be found. However, due to this, we are more aware of our industries, mostly the creative industry's weaknesses, and we're slowly evolving in hopes to actually improve and maybe reach beyond our previous limitations. But it's also because of this kind of fast evolution that there are more uncertainties as to how the Malaysian film industry will turn out in the future, and not just like the film industry as a whole. But more specifically like the creative industry as a whole. And with that, that is why we have brought in four wonderful panelists to join us for this evening. These individuals are people who have been working with both the creative and commercial aspect of our industry in both the local and international stage. So let me quickly introduce each one of them, and I think you guys can also introduce yourself afterwards. For our first panelist, we have well, let me introduce you to Quan, who is a junior film director at Graph Studio. But don't let the junior part fool you. It's because Chan is a filmmaker who has won several awards for his short film Setting Moon, which has also been screened in several international film festivals. He is also a alumnus of the Faculty of Cinematic Arts (MMU). Next up, we have Zulaikha, who or more commonly known as Ika. She is also a development and a film series writer in Astro, who holds a bachelor degree in cinematic arts from Multimedia University as well. Her short film Suraya had also won Best Film Award at the Asian Youth Indie Film Festival at 2016. Thirdly, we have Ekin, who is a graduate of UNIMAS with a Bachelor of Arts in Cinematography and is now working as a freelance director, writer, and assistant director. Uh, and her short film Pace was also the winner of the grand prize of the 2019 BMW Shorties. And currently, she's also worked with other projects as well that been has gotten massive positive feedbacks. Finally, we have Tan Yonglin, who is a graduate of Faculty of Multimedia with a degree in animation and visual effects. He is a self-taught photographer who has also was also the winner of the 2015 Sony World Photography Awards and is now the owner of his own studio called Yongl Studio, which has worked with various local and international brands such as Ducati Malaysia, Nestle Milo, and Adobe US. And that's like the summary of our for our panelists. Would you like to say hello to everyone?
Hello, hello.
Hey guys.
Okay, now without further ado, I think we can actually go on proceed with our event. Now, just a reminder for our audience who are watching us live at the moment, you can put in any questions that you have into our chat box, and we will look into them and we will present them to our panelists to be answered, and hopefully to your satisfaction. And now let's go. I would like to go on with the first question that in mind, which is, have you actually ever have you felt lost and directionless after graduation? And if so, what have you done to overcome it? And this is I think any of our panelists can answer this, but maybe we can start with Chan.
All right. Actually, that's a very interesting question because I did feel quite lost after graduating FCA. So I actually took a year off, from doing anything. I kind of like took my time because at the time I just finished my final year project, Whipping Birds, and I sent it to a few festivals. And it's fortunate enough that I got to actually get to screen them in various festivals. So I actually spent one whole year of just traveling in a way. I traveled with my film. I remember going to Venice as well as Hong Kong and Singapore. And yeah, after that, I kind of like I took my time. I tried not to rush myself, and that's when I actually worked on my um, second short film's script, which is Setting Moon, and I sent it to a competition, and we produced that film with Graph Studio. And it's actually after producing Setting Moon that they hired me as a junior film director. So I actually feel like if if there's any advice that I can give to FCA students, it is just right after you graduate, I feel like you should take a break, take your time and try to just because I know that the FCA is actually a very heavy degree. And I feel like everyone
Putting it
deserves
lightly.
exactly everyone deserves a break right after graduation and just kind of like recharge yourself and get back your creative juice, refill your
Mm,
creative juice. So yeah.
okay. All right, I see. Thank you. And actually, how was it like going to like all those film festivals, like your first experience like going to international film festivals? Like how did that felt actually?
Um. Okay. So the first international festival that I went to was Singapore International Film Festival, and it was a pretty big festival, in the Asian market, like I would say. And the festival was honestly a bit too prestigious for me in a way. When I went there, I felt very small,
Mm-hmm.
because there were celebrities, like everyone was so famous there, and I felt very small. And the whole mood of the festival was very heavy, like I would say. I was starstruck the whole time. Compared to the one that I went to in Venice, which is actually a very small scale festival, and it was held by a bunch of Italian students, university students, and it was more, heartwarming. It was more, how to say, everyone felt like a family. When I went there, everyone was just like, oh, you're from Malaysia, you're from, there are people from France, from Lebanon. I actually met a lot of new friends there
Mm.
because it's so small, and it felt more like a gathering more than a festival. So I actually, you know, I'm very fortunate that I get to experience a big festival as well as a smaller scale festival. So I kind of get to compare. And yeah, who knows? Maybe I get to make my own festival one day for
Oh,
FCA.
hopefully, yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chan. Does like I think going back to the original question, does any of our panelists have anything to add for that? Like the feeling of being lost after graduating.
Right. I think if I may just hop in, um,
Mm-hmm.
what I think what Chad just mentioned just now was that when he took a year break, what happened was he met a few people, and from there he actually secured a job, which where he is right now. And I think many of us could maybe agree with this point is that the industry is so small, everybody kind of know each other, and that's where you kind of build friendship along the way. And through that friendship is also where you get to learn more, and that's where you actually get jobs. And I think the main important point is that, based on your question, Irfan, is that you mentioned that after we graduate, of course, I think like out of 100%, maybe 99% out of the 100 you probably feel lost. And it's these little things. So I mean, who you work with, or even when you're internship, the relationship that you've built is the one that you will carry through along the way. And I think that is when I think, me personally, I get snapped out of it, because it's that relationship that I managed to secure my first job. And that was, and my funny enough, that my job was actually, I was working in Raizafura. Back then it was under Kazana. I'm pretty sure all of us know that, that the company exists, and that it just disappear. But I worked there for 2 years, and I got a job from a lecturer. And before getting that job, I was, attending my first writers' room, and I had no idea what I was doing. It's like a bunch of great writers gathering, and they were talking about this structure that I have. Like, it was so foreign to me back then. But through that friendship and through that relationship and through the connection, and that's how it gets through along the way. Yeah.
I see. Okay. So it seems like what I gathered from Chan and Ika is like it's important to really just explore and really just experience a lot, right? So you can gain from those experience and really try and find out what really works well with you. And I hope if we can continue on with the next question, considering like talking about the idea, the topic of getting, understanding what you want to do. The next question is there like in your opinion, would it actually be better to polish one skill or be versatile in your skill set in order to have more opportunities in the future?
Okay, I want to share my perspective on this. I think finding a niche is very, very important. Finding a niche, or finding what you can do to serve clients, what you're doing best at, is very, very important, because this basically allows you to stand out among the crowd. I think this applies to all creative industry, all different kind of niche generally, because I came, this is from my experience because when I graduated, right, I didn't went into full-time work directly. I started freelancing. Basically, I saved up 10,000 an amount of money during my university years. So after I graduated, I started freelancing, and I started doing a lot of jobs. Because I don't have connections, and I don't have much connections yet at that time. So basically, I'm cold emailing everyone, cold calling businesses. Whatever job that comes my way, I have to take it, because I need to pay my rent. I need to pay my bills. I cannot, basically, I cannot take a break. So throughout all my jobs, right, I realized that my strength is actually in photography. I even went to do like film, shoot behind the scene, do whatever jobs during my first year after I graduated. So I slowly realized that my niche is actually, my lane is actually in photography. So once I go all out on that, I realized that my professional career basically take off, because I realized that for me personally, my skills, if applied into the photography industry, I can stand out among the crowd, all my creative imaging stuff. And so film and other thing I put aside first. That's what I realized. So finding a niche specialty is very, very important. But before you find the one, you have to try lots of things first, and you might fail. So it's normal.
I see.
Yeah.
So it's okay to actually fail something. So that's
Yeah.
So you understand that maybe this isn't for me. So okay, what's the next step? What's the next thing I should do? Is that
you have to try first, try a lot. Maybe you can go to a full-time job first, then on the side, right, you take up part-times, do different kind of things. Yeah, just to try out like maybe in the film industry, right, maybe you can take up some part-time on like maybe PA, or maybe lighting. You jump departments until you find the one that suits you. Because I think in film industry, not everyone is born to be a director.
I
So
see.
eventually the person goes into maybe starts from PA lah, then have to climb slowly. Then they'll discover what their strength is. Like some of my friends, their strength is actually in lighting department.
Mhm.
Like another is DP. He realized that it's more suitable for him to be a DP instead of director.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think try different things first, then you eventually find your niche.
I see.
Mm.
Interesting. And continuing on, if continuing with our next question, you mentioned something about freelance. You mentioned you work as a freelancer, right? And I think Ekin, you also work as a freelancer as well. And because of that, I would like to ask this next question is what is actually kind of the difference working as a freelancer and compared to like working with like a studio like or like a company like Ika and Chan?
So I've been in the industry. I think this year is my fourth year. So I haven't been here for that long. I don't know if I'm in that place to say. But so I was an in-house in Redcom for a year, and after that I decided to try freelancing. So I would say the biggest difference is when you work in-house, you are associated to a company. You are expected to deliver everything that the company requires you to do. Lah. So yeah, but when you freelance, you get to choose the project that you want to work on, and also you are able to sort of schedule your own timeline, your own downtime, your own working time. So that's the biggest difference. But also because we are talking to those who are about to go to the industry, I would say if you decide to freelance, make sure you really know how to secure yourself financially. So that's it.
I see. Okay. That's thank you, Ekin. And like, what about Ika and like Chan? Like, how is it for you working as like under an in-house? On the other hand, like, what is the experience working with that compared to like freelancing, in your opinion?
Um, I'll go first, Chan. Okay. What is it like? Was it if I wait?
Yeah, it's like how would you compare it then? Like working
Right,
for, especially you working for Astro Shaw,
right.
and how does that
Um,
differentiate?
One thing that you can say that was quite accurate is that when you work in with a studio, there's a lot of jobs coming in, and you are somehow being placed to where you think that the studio would, where you think you are needed, rather than you picking what it is. But I guess for us, it was different for me in Astro Shop because the team are not. I mean, we've divided our team is so big technically. We have some bunch of people who is handling some stuff that is an external titles that we just have to monitor, and but in the same time we also write and produce our own titles in house. So therefore it's really how we navigate the team and how every each of us have our own different skill set, and therefore because the team has grown so big, we've managed to have the luxury to, if you want to produce or you want to write your own, you can. Or if it's your downtime and you don't feel like you want to go on set for like 60 days, for God's sake. So then you can actually just monitor some titles in the office. But that is quite a hustle too. But, I guess you have to, you have to pick and choose lah, which one you want to do. And because the team is so big, we're able to do so. I would understand if it's a smaller production house, or if a smaller studio. I would understand that you don't have that luxury. However, I guess for us, it's that you have a monthly income that is a bit more consistent. That is, I guess, that is the luxury that we have. Yeah, yeah.
I see. Okay, thank you, Ika.
And to add on to what Ika just said,
Mm-hmm.
because she mentioned that your the place that you work in is like a big team, right?
Right.
So compared to me, our team is actually quite small. Graph Studio is a very small production house, so we basically have to do every single thing, and the jobs keep coming in. But I think one good thing about working in a studio is that you get a lot of different projects that you get to work on.
That's
Like,
true.
yeah, for example, because actually Graph Studio focuses on commercials, but only recently we got to make a TV series for Astro, which I think Ika would know the news channel. Number Tada, was it?
Oh, I think it's under channel. Yeah, but yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's for their new channel, and then we got to produce a TV series for that channel for Astro.
Amazing.
Yeah, which is quite fun, So I think
Wow.
that's one of the perks, working in a studio where you get tons of different projects
Yep, that's true.
compared to a freelancer, because a freelancer you have to go and look for it, and sometimes you might not even get it because they might have a different director that they want to work with, or different whatever they want to work with.
I see.
So yeah,
So it's
it's more secure if you work in a studio, in a production house. But again, the, the con is that you don't get to pick and choose.
I see. I see. So either you can get all of your jobs or no freedom, or you can get freedom but even less harder to find, a bit
Yeah.
harder to find jobs.
And
Yes,
some
sir.
people might
Actually,
argue that working as freelancer, you get paid more,
Mm-hmm.
but not as what do you call that? Not as secure, lah. Because you don't get monthly pay.
yeah,
Yeah,
You work more than you get more.
yeah, it's
yeah,
very unstable, unstable. I have something to add on actually, like for freelancers out there. Actually, right, you can try to come up with packages, to secure clients to pay you monthly. That's the tip, that's basically the thing that changed my life, You can come up with something, maybe it's a small amount of money also can. Just imagine, every one of us, we subscribe to internet, right? We subscribe to Digi or anything for our phone monthly. So you apply this concept in the services you provide, and you secure a monthly income. So that's the stability. And maybe you sign a contract with the client 1 year or what. That's the stability. And you can once you have the stability, you can go all out on like bigger projects, try to pitch bigger stuff. This is from my personal experience, Okay.
I see. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Yong. All right then. Continuing on, I think you've all mentioned that there's a lot of work, right, when it comes to the film industry, and which I think we can go to a question that we got from FB, one of our question, which is considering like filmmaking is an occupation that is works with long hours. How do you actually manage the time to rest and other commitments, especially if you're like a junior, like if you're a junior filmmaker and you're starting it off, like how you balance it out? Or maybe you don't. I don't know. You guys. I'm leaving that up to you guys. Maybe we can start with Ekin. If you have anything to add on that.
how do I balance it? Actually, when I was in house, to be honest, there was no balance lah. I think that's also one of the reasons me personally decided to, okay, I can't do it anymore. Maybe this thing is not for me. I try freelancing instead. So it's better for me because that's also the thing about it's good for you to experience both so that you will know which one is better for you, which one is better for you to manage your life. If you feel like working in-house, you are still able to have your own personal time. You can do all the stuff that you want to do personally. It's good for you, but for me, freelancing is better lah because I get to decide like after I do like a 3 months project, say, and I feel like I want to take a break for 3 weeks for my own time. I can do that. So I have that privilege as a freelancer now. So that is how I manage my free time now. I don't know for Ika and Yong and Chan.
Thank you, Ekin. Young,
For,
do you have
okay,
anything?
for me personally, I don't have work-life balance. There's no such thing as balance. Okay, because I'm on my own now. No one is paying my salary. I'm basically paying myself lah. So how do I pay myself? I have to get clients. Okay, I have to go out basically like a hunter lah, like a bounty hunter lah. I managed to close a sale, then okay, I can makan. I tell you lah, my first year of freelancing lah is fucking hard because I got 3 months continuously zero sales, zero. That okay, just now I shared the tip, right? Okay, that was the time I haven't realized that yet. So I'm very grateful for a friend lah. He basically uh guided me on this thingy, and I gave it a try, and I started with 1,000 ringgit copywriting packages for social media, like because okay, I ride a motorcycle, and I often visit the motorcycle repair shop. So I asked the shop boss, do you want to do some social media stuff? I can do writing, stuff like that. Okay, so basically the boss, he don't know English, Chinese boss lah. So I told him that okay, maybe I can do some social media stuff, copywriting, take photos of your product, and he's okay. And he actually values it because he don't know how to write in English. So eventually, what I do, the value is even higher. Okay, so I started from 1K per month. I signed a contract with him 1 year, 1K, slowly, now already 3K. So this concept, I think freelancer can apply lah. You come up with something, a package, then you make it into like 1 year thingy, or maybe a quarter, 3 months. Yeah.
I see.
So for me, personally, no work-life balance lah. But now slowly because my business is gaining traction already ma. Like now I can speak to you, and my team is still working.
Mhm.
So I think it's worth it lah. But currently I'm in my fourth year.
I see.
And yeah, this year we target to set up a proper sendirian berhad lah. Currently it's still an enterprise, but we are on our way.
Okay. Hopefully it works out, Yong. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
no balance. Okay.
Also, just reminder, because we don't know, because we might have some parents or some kids watching this live, so maybe we could keep the language to a minimum. Okay, not saying, not really blocking any expressions, but be wary.
Okay, sure.
Thank you so much. All right then. Let's continue on with the next question that I have in store for you is really considering. I think this is also very important. I think me and Yong, we've talked about this before the live started, and I think this is something we should really talk about. Especially again, we're talking about money, about working. Is money really important in the creative industry? And if so, why? Right, in your opinion, like, is it just like, even if you think you have all these ideas, you're creative, but people keep on saying you need money to actually make stuff, like, why do you think that's the case?
Okay, for me, I think you don't need money to start something, but eventually, if you want to grow bigger or scale it, you will need money. For some people, right, maybe they need the money to sustain their own living, to survive first, like to pay bills, pay rent, because they are not staying with their parents. Okay, so they have bills, they have commitments to pay. That's why I say need money, because survival. You have to settle the survival part first, then the creativity comes. Because if you are just surviving, right, it's hard for you to get creative. It's very hard, I feel. Because I see many people are struggling at the survival phase. It's hard for them to jump out. It's very, very, very fucking hard. Even for full-timers also. Like maybe their salary is not enough to cover, So staying with parents actually is one of the way to overcome this. But if you are on your own, right, the difficulty level is even higher. That's the time when you realize that money is very, very important. Yeah, very important. Money comes first, you settle the survival part first, then the creativity comes. Yeah.
I see. Okay. And
To add on to the money part of this industry, right? Because I work in a production house that majorly makes commercials. So I'm always told that the commercial industry is actually the one that makes money. So if you want to make money, you have to go into making commercials, because nobody's going to fund you if you want to make your own feature film or short film. There's no client that will give you money to make your own passion project. So how to make money is actually going into the commercial industry, which sometimes, I mean, it's not for everyone. Sometimes it might drains you, which in my case, yes, it kind of drains me. But yeah, that's the hard truth. If you want to make money, you have to make commercials. And like what Yong said, um, you secure yourself first. You survive first, and then with the extra money, maybe you get to fund yourself, and you can make your own passion project if you have the extra income lah. But of course, the best case scenario is you get people to give you money to make your passion project. But yeah, in Malaysia, it's not the case lah.
Yeah, actually, it's very sad lah in Malaysia because I think in Malaysia, right, your skill don't matter lah. What matter is your connection lah. Damn it, cable. That's what I realized lah throughout my years lah. But I want to change this slowly. I want to let like real talented people get seen slowly, because like what Chan said just now, like you want to do passion project, you need someone to fund it. Okay, if you have powerful and strong connection, right, you can get it done easily. Like okay, certain films in Malaysia, I don't want to mention the title lah. You don't understand why the director can get like a budget from Finas to produce it, and the quality is like what the okay. So that's the thing going on in Malaysia now. So I think for newcomers, right, you first thing you do, you separate first. You separate what you do for your living, okay, and what you like your passion project. You separate them. You don't mix them, because if you mix them, you suffer. You suffer for sure. Never mix them. Okay, a good example for me. I use my example like okay, what I do for a living. Okay, maybe photography stuff, creative strategy, marketing stuff, all the stuff there. And my passion is all the creative, crazy images I make. That one I don't have to like listen to client. But what I do professionally, right, is helping client to solve problems. It's like it's very logical. Solve a problem, we go to the next one. Solve a problem, no emotion attached. So my passion project is like my emotion, my artistic ego is inside. For what I do professionally, I can let go my ego. I can let go my ego. I can serve you. You give me money, I serve you. Okay. So that's the first thing. Okay. Now second thing, you use the money from your professional side. You save it. Then you can do your own thing. Just like what Chan said lah. You can save up. Maybe you can use your passion project as your motivation, like to for your full-time job lah. Maybe you don't enjoy your full-time job that much, but think of your passion project. Come up with one. Use that as your guide lights. The light in the sea, light tower in the sea. Yeah. Use that as one. I think it will help especially if you feel lost.
I see.
Passion project will help a lot. Okay.
If I may, if I may
Yeah,
add,
please.
I think one thing that Chan and Yong mentioned just now that's quite very important, right? It's survival, right? And how money helps us to survive. Definitely. I mean, tak kisahlah whatever industry you're working in. I think survival is the main thing, and that's why we're working, and that's why we go to university, so that we are qualified to be working in a place who can pay us a certain amount, right? But also one thing I think, I don't know whether this is a tip, but what interests me is that when Chan mentioned that when you do commercial, and it's draining, yes, but in the same time it's draining, but you're putting yourself out there. That's what I see. How I look at it is that doing commercial, it's you putting yourself out there, and by you making your name out there, and for our audience are changing. I think COVID, with us staying at home, our audience now are different. They have different mindsets. They are more entertained by what they watch online, rather than what they watched on TV. So I guess that itself is a privilege for us as a filmmaker, right? As people who works in the industry, is that our audience are getting smarter. And for us, I work in Astro, so obviously I do commercial content, right? The film, whatever, everything, it's for the audience. It's basically giving what the audience want. But at the same time, we're also pushing the boundaries just by a little bit, giving not too smart of a content that like a very artistic content. Yes, we would love to do that, but at the same time, because we need to survive,
Mm.
and that is what we kind of pay, getting paid for. We are also pushing the boundaries a little bit, just slowly, because we're aware that the audience are changing, and I think that is one way that we can look at it, and for us to also survive, but also to be creative at the same time.
Mm.
Yeah.
Also, may I add something?
Yes, please, Ekin.
Um, Also, I feel like it helps, like survival, yes, in the industry and money to survive. But also at the end of the day, we are creatives. That's why we choose this path. We want to make films, learn art. So it's very helpful for you to find a community that has the same passion as you to help you along the journey. So, like say, even though I'm freelancing, I'm doing other people's project, but at the same time, I'm side hustling with my own community, film community, trying to make our own projects. And then you can make your own scripts and try to pitch it as funding from festivals. There are festivals who give funding for pre-productions as well. So that's what you can do is to find that community. Never lost that art community. So when you go to the industry, because the industry is fast, you can get lost, you can get drowned anytime.
I see. Thank you, Ekin. Thank you, everyone, for those wonderful answers. And I think let's continue on with our next question. We have from FB. I think can also be uh, kind of relate with what we just talked about as well, where we kind of talked about all these things that we have to kind of learn, and we have to experience and learn. But the question is, how well do you think the university actually helped you to be ready and prepared to enter the industry? Was there many differences from what you learned in university or in college versus work life?
Uh, okay, I share first. For me personally, I'm thankful MMU always let us do presentation, because 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 I'm on my own now. So every time I go and pitch client, it's like a final presentation. It's the same thing. I prepare slides, I prepare everything, then I present. So I think what MMU did right is incorporate the presentation thingy inside. Basically speaking skills is very soft skills is very important. Then technical skills come later or come together. That's for freelancer route. Freelancer route, or those who want to do their own things, uh, build their own things. Yeah.
Thank you, Young. John, maybe you want. Yeah.
All right. When it comes to MMU, I think this is university in general. Like if you master university, right? I feel like every student should take the opportunity because um, the university can provide just that, like a syllabus for you. But you gotta have to, you as a student, you gotta have to, I don't know, especially when you're a filmmaker, you gotta have to make your own project. You gotta have to make your own film. You gotta have to build a brand for yourself, especially if you want to be a director. I think that is very important, to build a brand. I think Ika and Ekin can pop out on that as well. To be a director, you gotta have to have your own brand, lah. So when I was in MMU, I actually, yeah, I do my assignments and stuff, but on the side, I made some, experimental stuff. As a student, experimenting is very, very important. You got to experiment a lot with your craft. And I think that's one of the ways where, the lecturers kind of see what I could do. So from that, they gave me the opportunities to make more stuff, right? So if you are active, if you are not timid enough, to make something and just put it out there for people to watch, um, one day someone will look at you and they can see something in you and that, oh, this person can do something. So I think yeah, when you master university, the first thing is don't be shy, you know, just go all out in a way. And another very important thing is make good friends. Make a lot of friends because like what Ekin mentioned just now, the community, right? So I'm very lucky that I have a community of very very talented friends that I met in MMU. So even though now that we've all graduated and we have all have our own job and stuff, we are still together and we sometimes come together and just make a film. So I think that is very important to make friends when you're in a university lah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sean. Ekin, do you have anything to add on as well? Uh, if not, then it's okay. Then if everything has been covered, well,
Uh, I
yes,
got I got something to add on.
yes, please.
And uh, and it is
Oh,
just now community, a community. Okay, so back in my university years, right, I have a group of friends who helped me to do passion project. I couldn't pay them yet because that time I'm still like financially incapable of paying someone. So basically they helped me a lot of on my passion projects. And what I want to say is that even if your friends their skill is not good enough, right? It doesn't matter as long as they have heart, because skill you can train. Like for example, I have a good friend, his name is Pao. So his skill is like mediocre. But when we work together, I try to bring him up, guide him, and now he's better than me, technically. So I want to say is that even if you want to form a community, right, you don't look at their skills first, you look at their heart, whether they are genuinely interested in helping you to complete this passion project. So get a group of people together and off you go.
I
Yeah.
see.
So it's very very important.
I see. So getting, you know, the people that you bring along with you is just as important, right? Because I think you need to build your foundation, and the foundation requires a lot of people to work on. And that's very those are very insightful answers. Thank you so much, Yong. Sharon. Again, Ikan, if you have anything to add to that as well.
Um, sorry. I think you mentioned just now that building a foundation, right? And that is technically why it's being in university is super important. I know that filmmaking is about the skill that you will learn along the way. It's experience that will teach you. But what I think me personally being in university it opens up this door. It's like I guess we're kind of lucky because um, for us being in MMU is that we're kind of exposed to the people who is already in the industry. So that is first main point is that being in the industry kind of give us this door. It's like a door yang dah ready, you just have to cross or something like that.
Mm,
So it's either if you want to do it or not. So I'm also aware that there are many people who are in this industry who's actually very very shy, but once you see their work, you kind of realize, oh my god, this person can actually do something, and that is the beauty of us working in the creative industry. It's us telling our story without saying the words, but us telling the story through our work. And I think that through university, it's something that I have learned, and I think it's something that maybe some of us has learned that too, tapi macam it doesn't really click. But it's that actually it makes us realize that wait, I can do something, and that this is how I can tell my story. So yeah, that's me personally. I think that's why being in a university is a privilege lah. It's not super important. If you don't, you masuk industry, you can learn definitely. But it's the theory that you get to learn. It's the many things that it's like dah depan mata, and Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
Also,
okay.
I
So,
want to add on a bit from what Ika just said, right? I think what she meant by the door is kind of like because you get all these assignments, you are forced to make,
Yeah.
for example, like a documentary, or you're forced to make a short film.
Hmm.
So, bila je you get to get a group of people
It's true.
just right there for you to make a documentary or a short film with, right?
Yep.
Because everyone has to do it to pass. You have all your friends, everyone has to do the assignment to pass. So you as a student, you're gonna have to take things very seriously. You have to like, okay, it's not just an assignment. You have to think like, okay, so once you have finished this assignment, where this film is gonna go after this?
It's true.
Is it gonna go into festival? Can you sell it? After this. So I think as a student, especially as a film student, right, you're gonna have to take your assignments very, very seriously. Don't just buat chikai work because that's the opportunity that the university has provided for you. You get this lecturers and all these other students there for you to make something with.
Yeah.
So
hmm,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. I see. Uh, Ekin, do you have anything to add for that, or do you think everyone's pretty much covered it? Like, how is it? How was it? Because I think we've already covered like the MMU students. Okay, school
Yeah.
things.
So boring lah.
So boring lah MMU lah. Hiya,
Like promotional
bias
gitu
lah.
already.
Now, like, how about like back at like so? Yeah.
So Unimas, Unimas actually the university kita orang bukan at the center of the industry lah, bukan dekat Semenanjung kan, dekat Sarawak. So our exposure in terms of really the creative industry is not a lot. Yeah, so I think most of the thing going back to the question in the beginning, which was did we actually apply what we learned in uni in the industry, something like that, right? I would say in terms of theory and stuff like that, not much. But what I really applied from what I learned in university is the subtext on what my lecturer has said to us in classes. For example, like they always mention like good attitude, like communication skills. Those things are actually very important. Not in terms of like the theory and what you learn, like on the slides. Because what really push you in the industry actually is if there's like two people, and I always say this like to juniors whenever they ask me, when there's two people, right? One is very talented, like crazy talented, but the other one has very, very good communication skills. They will choose the one with the good communication skills.
I see.
Industry. And that's what my lecturer has always said to me, like have good communication, have good communication. I didn't understand it at first, but that is how the industry is, and that is what I apply for my
I see. All the introverts who are watching are like sweating right now. They don't like oh how
Nah, it's okay to be introvert, guys. Be
uh,
yourself.
Actually, I'm an introvert, Like many years ago, I was very very shy to speak to anyone. And English is not my native tongue, lah. So basically, because I come out on my own, I the environment forced me to change, I have to be strong, I have to speak up, you know. That's how I. But I still need alone time to recharge, of course. But what I'm trying to say that if you think you're introvert, right, you can still speak one. You just need to practice. You just need the right environment to push you evolve slowly. And of course now inside you are still an introvert, no worries. But you are flexible. You can switch. Yeah, that's the thing I realized lah. Okay.
But don't worry about that because once you get into the industry, over time that will get you. Yeah, don't rush like I have to get out there. No.
Oh yeah. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. Don't be like me. Because my situation I think is more hardcore lah. But no regrets lah. Yeah.
Without further ado, let's continue on with our questions. We've gotten quite a lot. We've covered quite a lot. I think we've covered like, working experience, how what how much you need to experience outside of graduation, and what you need to do when you're in university, what to expect. What should we look for? And let's continue on with some of the questions that we've gotten from Facebook. Now, question to all of our panelists. Uh, so we actually, Ika, you've mentioned like university is a good time to actually dip into like introducing yourself to the industry, right? And I think one of the ways that a lot of universities they allow film students to do this is through internships. And I think internships is a very important part of for film students. And question here is they were wondering like what advice can you give to students that will be taking internship in the creative industry? Is there anything they need to look out for, or they should be wary about, of the sorts? And
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. I think internship, yes, it's basically our first exposure to what the industry is like. So if I may give an advice, maybe I'm not the right person to give an advice, to be honest, because my internship was funny story. I went to a advertising agency. I went to LB to do my internship, thinking that I could be a copywriter, but it's a whole different game. So, so I was very much lost there. I had to keep up, and I had to catch up really quick. It was not easy, but I guess from there, that's when I learned. Oh, okay, internship is the first exposure to what the industry is like, and um, number one main important thing before going into internship, I think it's where you kind of who what I mean, I guess the industry is kind of divided in some ways. Yes, it's in one creative industry, right? But it's divided in different sort of content, different type of content that you're doing. So which one do you want to learn first? I think that's the main important thing, because different companies produce different types of content. You have companies who produce literally just um, content for some TVCs, and you have some drama, you have some premium series. So I guess it's different in every way. So the company that you pick is basically the company that you want to learn you kind of want to learn like the glimpse of that specific um, type of content that you want to explore in the future. So I think to me that is something that I did not know personally. I did not know that that is internship is important for me to know that. But now that I know, I guess then I can see that to everyone. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
thank you. Does anyone else have anything to add? Yes, Ekin.
I had to, Ika. It's true what she said. So make sure before you apply for internship, do a background check on the company that you apply for.
Yeah.
Make sure you know what they are doing, what type of content they are doing, and is that really what you want? Because there was this one time I was doing a freelance job, and um, an intern came to me, and then she was like very, very. I feel like she was so depressed, and then she told me that I don't think film is for me. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I was shocked. Lah, macam what do you mean? And she said it's too fast. It's too fast paced. It's too fast paced. I thought I loved film, but it turns out it's not for me. She said that. So I felt bad because I don't think that is. She's basically having a bad internship experience, lah. So and then I told her about what Tika mentioned just now. It's basically in the same umbrella, but it's a different community.
Yeah.
So maybe she went to the wrong side of what she thought filmmaking is. Maybe she's more of an art house type of person, but she went to a commercial company. So everything is fast, fast, fast. They want result, 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 result.
Yeah.
So she got drained. So yeah, make sure to do a background check on the company that you're applying for, whether it's internship or job.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, we'll take note of that. I'll take note of that for my next sem because I am currently working. I'm currently on my first sem of second year, and I think next sem should be my internship. So, these are very good. These are very important things I'm taking note of. Okay, thank you. Chan, do you have anything? Maybe you wanna tell us, dip us some experience.
Um, I mean, what you said was totally right because for my internship, I actually went to Da Hong Pictures. Da Hong Pictures is this company owned by Tan Sri Mui and Amin Muhammad and some other, indie Malaysian directors lah. So it's actually they mainly make you know, I would say stuff like macam like passion stuff. A lot of they don't really do commercials, and I'm fortunate enough that when I entered for the internship, I got to they were holding their Sea Shorts Film Festival, right? So they were organizing Sea Shorts Film Festival, and I got to kind of like learn a bit about how to organize a film festival lah. So I think what Ika said was right. Like before you masuk, I'm so sorry. I
No
don't know.
worries. They-
Pick kat luar tu tengah having fun. Okay, so yeah. So before you go into an internship, you do a background check, ask your seniors, ask your lecturers, ask for their experience. Like macam, because I do have some juniors who I know some of them. I know where they can go. So whenever they ask me, I can suggest some places. Some of them I can tell this person is like a festival director or like a festival filmmaker. So you can go to Dahuang, you can go to certain places. But if I see this person, macam he's into commercial, then you can go to I don't know Reservoir or even Graph. So yeah, ask your seniors if you're you know if you're close with any of them, yeah, you can always ask your seniors as
I
well
can
as
refer to you lah later on, huh?
yes, of
Is it-
course.
Okay, thanks. Sure. Thank you, Chad. Yong, do you like to add anything on the question, or were you able to?
My mic no battery or no battery already.
Oh
My
no!
the sound okay. Now I'm using my phone
Yeah,
directly.
no, you're good.
Okay, right?
You're good. Yeah, you're
Okay,
good.
okay. Okay, so for me, right, my internship experience, I purposely went to a small company, like a freaking small company, only have like 2 full-time staff. So they are my supervisor directly. So my purpose is that I want to build connection with the boss because I know the boss got many connection already lah. And so I went to a small company because I think I can do more. I can learn even more. That's my because for me personally, right, I already knew that once I graduated, I want to do my own things. So I took this path. I went to a small company and I do as much. What I'm doing is basically a full-time staff lah. What full-time staff is doing lah. So basically, I get the chance to work directly under the boss, and I get to go to like client meetings, everything. So I try to absorb as much as I can lah. And actually, I'm very thankful because my intern boss, right, Mr. Ma, he's also MMU alumni lah. He actually guided me a lot lah. And actually, before I graduate, he wants me to do full time for him, but I told him that I want to do my own things lah, and he's actually okay and very supportive. So another perks of going to small company is that uh, you can basically utilize your boss resources because you form a closer connection with your boss ma. Like for my FYP is a VFX short film project. Okay, so okay, I forgot to mention the intern company I went to is actually a post production company. So we do VFX, a lot of post production. Sometimes we go on set also to just supervise the VFX thing. Okay, so after my internship, right, is FYP ma. So my FYP actually like all the gears, everything is sponsored by my intern boss lah. So in a way, it's like I help him and he helped me back lah.
I
Oh,
see.
that's what I realized lah, the benefit of going into small company lah. But I think this does not apply to every other industry lah. For creative industry, I think it's very useful lah in a way.
Mm.
Yeah.
So like, if I don't know if I got this wrong, but Chan, I believe like you yourself, like because of your experience doing internship, I think, or at least when you were working for Graph, you mentioned that they actually helped you, so like help you funded like your works, right? for like at least your future projects or some? Am I getting this one?
Actually, Graph, I didn't intern in Graph.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, how I met Graph was from a competition. So I submitted my script to a competition called Kanju 66,
Ah,
and they kind of paired me up with Graph Studio. At the time, I didn't know who they were because, like I said, they were pretty small. So that's how I met them, and then we produced Setting Moon together, and that's how I got hired lah after the film.
but that kind of like presents like how important it is to actually network with the people
Yes,
you're working with, right? Like
yes.
whoever you're working with, you should really have a good relationship, and
I
you know,
think in this
because
industry, the most important thing is relationship.
mm,
Networking. Yeah.
understandable. Okay, thank you. So like Yong, would you is your company doing any internships? Maybe I don't know. You need someone.
I already got an intern.
I know.
Already got an intern, yeah. But we are slowly expanding lah. So wait for me. I'm trying my best, freaking best.
Okay, Yong,
So
call lah.
slowly expanding and huh?
If anything, if you got a slot, let me know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Continuing on. So again, following like the question of like going into internships and maybe working, finding your actual jobs or like finding jobs. You about the question of like interviewing. Are there any kind of tips that you would like to share when it comes to like actually interviewing for a job? Like example maybe Ika, because you're working because now you work with for like a broadcast company, right? For Astro Shaw. So like is the interview like is there like a standard for that one? Is it different for like a normal studio for like Chan? Yeah.
Um, oh man, it's going to be like so weird because Astro Shaw, although it sounds so big, but we're very lucky because the bosses are so chill.
No.
So I think one thing about the industry people, right? Everybody is just chill. I mean, look at Yong. Yong is just chilling, man. Like I can already vibe with him. I feel. So I guess that's how it works because everybody is so chill. But at the same time, don't take it lightly. Don't definitely jaga your behavior in a way. Don't like smoke whatsoever when you're interviewing. Tapi in the same time, these people are very open minded. They are. You'll be surprised how. I mean, if you're lucky, actually, there are many people out there who wants to find new talents. Because the industry is so small, everyone is just going in circle. Who's gonna direct this next series? Oh, you keep throwing out the same names. I promise you, it's always the same guy, and that's why I guess when you watch TV, you say, "Allah, dia ni lagi." Yeah, because you don't really have much options. So that is actually for us new graduates, right? That is one good thing there. Because the industry is so small and people are actually looking for new talents. Whoever who think that they have something to serve, like who you think you have something to show, interview during interview is actually one of the time where you can show your work, and it's just not. Yes, it's good if you can speak well, but if you can't, that's okay. I don't think you should feel that you are less of a talent because this industry is meant for that. We are meant to tell what we can do. You're supposed to show. We're not just supposed to tell. Even in writing, show don't tell, right? But I guess
Yeah.
yeah. So during interview, if I think the main tips is that just take it easy. I am so far during interviews of me, my personal interview experience. I've never met anyone who is so how you may think, like people who they're very chill people. They don't look down on you although you're a junior. They're open to see what you have, what you can do. um yeah, actually, so just go out there and nail it. Yeah.
Hey, just gotta go for it. You just gotta do it, right? You just gotta do it.
Yeah. It's true.
Uh, so and I'm also curious for like maybe Ekin, for or at least your experience with like freelancing. How about that? Is there actually like an interview when you're trying to get jobs, or is it more like a pitch? Or how is it?
Well, in the industry as of now, I either write direct, but these past few months I've been doing a lot of assistant directing. I don't know why.
Ah,
But so for freelancing, I think it leads back to what Chan mentioned just now, network.
mm,
And people like to work with people who they think, who they, from buah mulut lah, basically buah mulut.
I see.
That's true.
Passion.
That's also true. Yeah.
I once got a job for directing because the audio man suggested me to the producer.
Ah,
Yeah, so it's based on how you are on set,
I
and
see.
and then you
Yeah.
share your stories, and they're like, oh, you can direct and your stuff, and then and if they have a project, they will maybe pitch your name, and then the producer will go to you and then ask you for your resume and stuff like that lah. So that's why it's important for you to network and then
Mhm.
be nice to anyone.
Mm,
Everyone, be nice to everyone. It doesn't matter if they're not HOD. You need to be nice to everyone because you never know who is going to suggest you.
true.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so the interview. So like, if I get this correct, like the interview part, like to get a good interview, isn't starting from the interview itself. It's before that even. Like you have to like when you're working with people, even when you're just talking with someone, right?
Yeah,
You just that's when it actually starts because of how small you've mentioned
mm,
industry actually is. So everyone
yeah,
just knows each other. So
yes.
okay, no, good to know. Good to know.
I mean,
Maybe
so what Ika said just now was actually very right. Like, macam, because I have seen my bosses interview new people in Graph Studio, and every time that after the interview, right, my boss would come and talk to me. He would be like, "So this guy says that he's very passionate, but he hasn't done anything yet. He has no portfolio." So, like what Ika said, you have to show. You cannot tell. You cannot just say like, "Oh, I'm super passionate in filmmaking,"
It's true.
but what have I done?
Yeah.
Nothing. So in this industry, you gotta have to keep making because that's how you show how good you are. You cannot
That's
just tell people that you're good. You cannot just tell people that, oh, I'm a very passionate filmmaker, but I have nothing to show.
Yeah.
You gotta have to keep making.
So I want to add to Chan. So basically, the whole thing is a cycle. Networking, friends, making something, and going back to making money. It's a cycle. So basically, that is the industry.
Yeah. And I think that's why I think was it Chad that mentioned that take your assignment seriously because your assignment is basically your first CV, like your
mm,
portfolio. And how many times? Because honestly though, like you making something is not easy, right? Making short films is very expensive, and our career and our passion is a very expensive passion. Therefore, when you have the opportunity, when you are given a certain assignment, don't take it lightly. Do it like really well because that's what's gonna go in your portfolio and that's what you're gonna show during your interview or people gonna talk about it lah. So I mean it's great like macam Chan dia punya titles everywhere already. When you mention his name, people know already lah. So I guess that's a benefit that you get because when you send your stuff to on festivals, it's like it's great when people the moment people tengok the title orang dah tahu, so that's great, so orang dah tahu and it's easier, it makes your interview so much more smoother lah senang kata. Yeah.
So just to add a little bit for if there's any like Unima students, I don't know, those who are not from Menanjung, don't be afraid to venture. Don't be afraid to go out to apply jobs or intern away from the comfort zone. Macam I understand macam the industry in Sabah and Sarawak memang membangun. Tapi it's nice for you to experience something here and bring that back, the working culture back to Sarawak or Sabah as well. So jangan takut untuk try to explore something out of your comfort zone. Jangan terlalu di dalam kamu punya circle saja. Because you need to go out to learn something and bring it back home in order for you to build something. Yeah.
I think someone mentioned to me, they say that if you keep on working on your comfort zone too much, you're not really moving anywhere, something like that, right? So I think what I really agree with what you've mentioned is that you gotta keep on going, right? Because if you feel it's safe, you're definitely not moving anywhere,
Yeah.
right? So thank you so much, Ikin, Ika,
And also,
and
if I may add, I'm so sorry, but
yes, please come on, just give us
uh,
anything.
when it comes to your comfort zone, right, I think because filmmaking is a storytelling art form.
Mm,
So, for example, you want to tell a story about a janitor, you got to understand how it's like to be a janitor. So it's such a big thing, though, filmmaking. To make to tell a good story, you're gonna have to experience it. So filmmaking is not just about filmmaking. It's not just about making films. You gotta have to go out there and experience things. You gotta, I don't know, work as a promoter dekat Giant ke, or work as a, I don't know, cashier. You gotta do a lot of things to kind of get all this experience. That's why I said, it's best to take a 1 year break if, of course, if your parents allow you, lah, you take a 1 year break after graduating and just work odd jobs, go jadi promoter, go jual kasut, whatever, just to get experience that is not filmmaking, you know,
yeah,
to
understood.
get all this stuff, it kind of helps with your storytelling, I would say. Because I think Ika as well, she made a story about for your final project, Surai is actually based on her experience as a ballet dancer. You were a ballet dancer, right? When you were younger.
Mm.
See, all these things actually help with your storytelling, and I think it's very important. You cannot just focus on making films. You got to
That's
do other.
also very true. I guess when in a writer's room, right, when you actually gather a bunch of writers, it's not just bunch of writers. If you're doing stories about something that is very specific, let's say a bank worker, for example. None of us are bank workers, but all of us are just barangan people who just gather and just write some stuff, right? No, it doesn't work that way. Therefore, I guess the luxury for being in studio is that you are able to hire a certain people that you need. What do you call it? What's the word? Someone who do the research for you. You have the researcher. You even hire some bank person to be in the writers' room with you. So I think that is the luxury that you have if you work with a certain studio, a bigger studio. But if you don't, what Chan just mentioned is also another way for us to tell a really honest story, a story that doesn't look so pretentious and so far fetched, right? It's like something that you tell from the heart. So I think that is very important, regardless commercial, art, whatever. Because the story is about the character as well. So if your character is not real, tak kisahlah what story you want to do, pun it will not come out real. You know.
Mm. Mm, thank
So
you.
it doesn't have to be like, if you do story about drug addict, you take drugs. No.
Mm.
Okay. I'm not saying that, okay? So yeah.
Careful, ah, careful.
Careful lah.
Yeah.
Don't.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much, Ika. Actually, going back again with the question of like interviews, like, I'm very curious for Yong, because I understand you are a founder of your own company, Yongl. But so like, have you actually been the interviewer and like, interviewing your staff, and what are you actually looking for in from people, and who are
I look
your
for okay. I actually there are a lot of people who want to work for me. They actually DM me, They say they want to work for me for free, blah blah blah. But okay, I actually look at portfolio first, just like what Chan, Ika, and Ekin mentioned. Portfolio is very important. You have to show first. Then I look at your attitude. Because I believe skill or portfolio can be strengthened throughout time. But attitude is the core thing. Attitude is the core thing. Whether you got hard or not. But I know if working professionally, money matters more than hard. Like the amount I pay. Uh, so this thing I know. But portfolio first, second attitude. If you don't have good portfolio, it's okay. You must have a very good attitude, willing to do anything. Willing, like if your boss expect 100%, you do 120%. It's the same thing I did for my client as well. That's why my client keep coming back. I do 150%. Sometimes I give a lot of values to them. So for students, right, focus on your portfolio first. But if your portfolio is not strong, it's okay. You must have a good attitude. You have good attitude, you can win over other strong, very skilled people in this industry. I believe. I think it's the same for film industry as well. Like I got a friend who's he slowly climb up from PA lah, until become producer. Then slowly he can direct his own stuff. Yeah. So I think attitude lah. Portfolio first, attitude. If you don't have good portfolio, it's okay. Focus on the attitude. Yeah.
I see. Okay. All right. So portfolio, attitude, important to really. Okay. All right. I think that's pretty clear. And I guess mentioning about attitude, what about yourselves? Like, have you guys ever actually like gotten like ahead of yourself, and when you're first starting off, like in the working, and you kind of how do I say that? You think when you were studying, you think that, oh, this shouldn't, this, I have a plan, this is what I'm gonna do, right? And so you have this mentality on what you want to do, but is that completely different than what actually happened? Like what happens, like in the end, like when you start working, like is it actually what you expected?
I'll just jump in. I think throughout 3 years I was in my degree, because we keep rotating our position, right? You're not just a director throughout 3 years, right? Sometimes you're the DP, sometimes you're the producer. I had no idea that I will end up being a writer right now. That's one thing I can say. Um, because first when baru graduate, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a director, tiba kan. Tapi I guess, along the way, you started to realize that it's not as that straightforward. And I think earlier on we did discuss on this, the journey of basically experimenting on what is okay and what fits you and what doesn't, what works for you and what doesn't. That is something that you have to go through along the way, and that is me personally. My personal journey is that I had no idea that I would end up being a writer right now, and it is the idea of being a director is still there. Just don't know when, but yeah, the back of my mind. It's like I still want to, but it's just I don't know when, and it's okay. I think like it's okay to. Hence why I try and take a year off, because it's okay to experiment with what you think you want to learn and what you think you want to do. Unless if you want to establish your own company, then I think that's a whole different game. Maybe Yong can elaborate more on that. Because establishing your company, you're not just the person who is the boss. You also have different types of client you have to deal with. It's a whole different game. So that is a whole different, I think, a different conversation. But for a straightforward fresh grad, I don't think what you think you will be now is something that you will end up doing. I think none of us know. You just have to go through it, and along the way, you kind of see where you want to learn, what you think you have a skill that you want to expand. Yeah.
Understand. So really you have to understand that your expectations might not be,
Yeah.
what's going to happen. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, Chan, Young, anything?
Actually, what Ika said is very true lah. And actually, that's the fun part. That is the fun part of creative journey, because you don't know where you will end up. And I just want to say, we all should enjoy the process lah. Without worrying about the destination. Because if we worry too much about the destination, right, it's pointless. Like life, our destination, we all will die. But we should enjoy the process lah. So it's the same for creative journey lah. Keep try different things. Don't be afraid to like step out of comfort zone. Like even what Chan recommend just now, like maybe you take a year off, you do something else, also can. whatever works for you. Just keep moving forward lah. Slowly, one step also can.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's
So everyone has their own pace, and they need to understand what pace they should follow. Okay.
And if I may add, like what Ika said, when she masuk MMU, she kind of didn't know that what she was gonna be, and then in the end she became a director, right? So in my case, I think from the second year on to my final year, I kind of branded myself as the director, and the lectures kind of gave me a lot of opportunities to direct things, and it's actually a regret for me now that I think about it, right? So I'm gonna tell whatever students out there who want to pursue directing, please build on other skills as well. Please learn about that camera work, or lighting. All the other skills are so important. Editing, oh my god. So when I came out of film school, all I know was writing and directing, and not everybody gets to be a director once you get out of film school, right? So I have these skills of, oh, I can direct, I can write, but who's gonna hire me? No one's gonna hire me. No one's gonna hire me and let me be the director, the roast. You know what I mean? So those people who want to pursue directing, please learn the other skills as well, like editing. I think editing is very important. If you know editing, almost every company will just hire you, because editing is actually quite it's a big thing lah.
Hmm.
So yeah, so that's one of the things that I kind of regret. I didn't get to explore a lot of other aspects of filmmaking. I wish I did, but I did not lah. So yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, if I could just add on, Chan, because being a director is not just telling story and make the cast say the things that you want them to say. It's also weaving different aspects into the story, right? So that's why different skills is important. Knowing what editing is very important to be a director, to be honest. So that those are the things that you kind of have to know, because as a director, it's you combining everything into one, in order to tell your story, not just your story, your client story, tak kisah lah, but whoever story is it, but it's your job, right? So yeah, so that's why I think betul. I have, if now that you mention it, I kind of feel that the same way too. Um, my weaknesses is that I don't really know technicalities of, let's say, camera. Right, I am not really much aware of that, and now that I'm here, I'm like, okay, how do I get there? Is it, I guess, just being on set lah. That is basically the only way for me to learn now. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's something that we're gonna have to slowly learn. Now that we're
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I agree with Chan as well. When I was in uni, I always brand myself as a director, writer, dancer. And now I regret I should have learned more about camera work.
Right.
It's so important. If you're a director and you can do your own camera work, then
Yeah, I think especially as a director, because you're working with other people, you're working all of these other cinematographers, all of these gaffers. So right, you have to really understand the team that you're working with. And okay, oh, cool. I think we uh actually we're near the end, but I think so. I think we have room for one more question, which is I was wondering if you could ask this. What was it like to finally do your first big job, your first work that you've ever done, and like what was like the did you feel any anxiety, and like was there fear, and how did you overcome it, or at least what was the result of it? And maybe let's have Ika. I think Ika's
My first real, I guess, my first real job and the first project that I've landed was Anak Merdeka. And some of us know, some of us doesn't. But it's scary because I don't know many people that's out there. Like whoever that the HODs are also like macam power. I'm just this tiny person. I feel like I'm a dust. Literally, I feel like I don't exist. I am like a part of the wall, if that makes sense. But the the feeling is just I can't explain it, to be honest. It's weird. It's something that I guess each of us have to go through to understand. It's scary, but in the same time you feel like, oh my god, my name is out there. You know what I mean? When you see the credit, right? I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
god, my name is like I have the same, like the thing is rolling and atas there like some powerful dude, and then I'm just there, but whatever, it's still rolling and my name is there and it feels awesome. Um but then I did I was a part of Pusaka. I was one of the writer for Pusaka, the film. That feeling is so different because Anak Merdeka is on TV, but film, right? Oh my god! And your name is out there. You feel like I couldn't. The stress for real lah. Memang you don't eat. I don't know. You eat, you sleep, you do everything in that one place in the writers' room. You don't do anything else. Just there, and it's like you don't. You basically feel like your body is just falling apart, but at the same time you try to pick it up again.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it's the premiere day, right, and your name and it's then being shown, people are just talking about it, and you feel like, oh my god, everything is worth it. So I cannot, to be honest, I don't make the justice explaining lah. I'm just rambling my words, but the feeling is just crazy. I think it's also what is your objective really. So I guess if your name is on festival, that is another different feeling. Right? You're traveling the world, man. Like but the feeling of being a dust is there lah. Like I'm pretty sure all of us can relate. Like the first ever job, like oh my god, I'm nobody. Like I paid so much money to be in university, but then when I come out, I'm still nobody. Like what? Yeah. It's okay. That nobody will hopefully change if you have good attitude. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Yong, Chan, Ekin, do you have anything? Yes.
My first job, wow, my first real job in the industry. So I interned actually in Redcom, and then after I interned, Redcom straight took me in to become a staff. So I didn't have any breaks lah. I finished intern, terus kerja. So my first job was production coordinator. And mind you, I came from, because our internship is a bit weird. So we intern, after that we need to finish one more semester and we go back and we graduate. So imagine me, I'm not saying like, but I'm from Sabah, from very kampung Sabah. Kampung, you know Bibiona, the story? The girl on the tree. Yeah, that's my kampung.
Oh.
I'm from kampung lah. So me going to the big city and then straight away my first job was production coordinator. I don't know anything about KL, where to find food, how to coordinate. So it was very overwhelming. The shoot was in Gombak. I don't even know where Gombak was, but it was overwhelming. Up until today, I still remember it. It was hard, but I made it through, and I learned a lot. Still, same as Ika, you feel like, wow, I paid uni, and this is what I have to do. But yeah, you will feel overwhelmed, you will feel scared, nervous, but you make it
Well, I see. Thank you so much, Ekin. All right. And Yong, do you have anything else to add for that? Or
Yeah. So, okay. For me personally, right. I landed my first big job back in last year during MCO MCO and RMCO in between stuff. So it's basically a $1 million property in Bukit Tungku. The name of the property is Area Residence. So basically we got the job. Basically I'm pitching for the job and I got the job to cover all their photography materials. From aerial photography, interior, exterior, everything. So every night before the pitch or presentation, I couldn't sleep for sure. So the anxiety and the stress level is freaking high lah. That's for sure lah. It's not easy lah. But once you got it right, once you go through the process, it's it's worth it. You need to go through the tough part lah in order to get to the to the sweet part. You can say that. So it's not easy lah. Anxiety and a lot of sleepless nights lah. But now we completed the project successfully already, and I can use this to pitch even larger projects. Yeah, so it's worth going through something lah. I think it's the same also lah. If you are working full time, maybe you're handling a big project or you're very stressed. But once you go through the process, everything counting, soon it's your thing already, and you
Nice.
can use it. You can leverage it to maybe get higher salary, or even you want to do your own things. Also can. Yeah.
All right. Thank
So
you, Yong.
don't be
Thank you
afraid.
so much.
Don't be afraid to go through the process.
As for me, I wouldn't say it's the biggest project lah, but I would say my first commercial that I solo directed was something quite nerve-wracking for me. I think it was like 2 months right after I joined Graph Studio. They let me solo direct a commercial. And I'm this person who I've never directed any commercials, and I had to deal with client and my boss actually Teik out for those PPM, those meetings with the clients and stuff. So it's just me and my executive producer, who is also my boss lah. So just both of us pergi and jumpa client and everything, and I have to talk to the client and all that. So definitely I felt very insecure. Like what Ika said, I felt like a dust, I felt like I belong on the wall or something. So yeah, and I didn't know better, and I just a lot of changes and stuff like because it's my first time dealing with clients, and I didn't really know what they want and all that. So there were a lot of changes, but of course I learned a lot from that project. And I think one of the funny things was, like what I mentioned just now, I'm not very good with editing. So when I proposed my kind of like the director's treatment to the client, right, for my first commercial, I kind of proposed this. I don't want to bore you with what I said lah, but it's basically a lot of roto stuff. All right. And I didn't know better. I thought it just looks cool, why not I just propose this, And then they accepted it. And then the post-production was just leaving hell lah, because the roto was crazy. And and my bosses are actually, they're fine with it. They're yeah, we understand it. I have to say, like, Graph Studio is a very nurturing production house. My bosses are amazing. They're super nurturing. So they actually gave me a lot of opportunities. Even sometimes some of these commercials are small budget, but they are willing to churn out their own money to make it for me because they say it's for my portfolio lah. So yeah, so after that first project, I kind of like, damn. So I know what I can do and what I cannot do. Before I propose something, I need to look at the budget first. Don't just simply propose crazy treatments without knowing the budget.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Sean, for that wonderful answer. Thank you again, Ika, Ekin, and Yong, for those wonderful answers. And okay lah. All right. Unfortunately, I think we kind of already reached the end of our webinar. So as a closing remark, I would like to request something from our audience, which is who are watching right now, to actually fill in on our feedback form. That will be posted on the chat box, and I think maybe on the screen as well through a QR code. And I would like to remind you that the feedback is very important for us, as it will help us improve more for our future events. So please do fill in the forms, and thank you in advance. And before we actually end this webinar, I would actually again would like to thank all of our audience here for spending their time with us. I hope you all had a good time and with us tonight, and hopefully you've learned a bit of what to do after graduation, and maybe even before that, to prepare for it. And yeah, I hope it's to your satisfaction. And as a reminder, please follow us on Instagram and for any updates on our next diary film. If you enjoyed this one, do check that out. And we also have our previous diary films as well, so you can check those out as well. You can also take a, maybe if you want, you can take a photo of this stream and tag us on IG as well, like if you want, so. Uh, and that's about it for our audience. Thank you again. Thank you so much. And as for our panelists, I would like to thank you all again for joining us. Thank you, Chan. Thank you, Yong, Ekin, Ika. Thank you so much for being here um, and sharing all of your knowledge and your experience with us. We're truly grateful for the wisdom that you've shared. And again, actually, if you still have some time left to spare, the chat box will actually still be going on even after this webinar is finished. So you may, if you want, if you have time, you can also answer any of the questions that have not been answered that our audience might still have for you. And for our audience, we apologize if there are some questions that were not answered. But hopefully, our panelists can answer those for you. Next up, I would like to thank to our organizer, the Cinematic Arts Society and FCA MMU, because without them, this series would not have been possible. Like our background, our posters, these are all done by the society, and we would like to again, this just simply would not be possible without them. And finally, I would like to say thank you to our advisor, lecturer, Mr. Fukan, for advising and guiding us to ensure this event actually goes smoothly. And yeah, actually, with that, I would only request that all of you, everyone out there, to take care, stay safe, and have a wonderful night, everyone. Goodbye.